Okay, let's just start with this webinar. We're going to talk today. One of my favorite topics is about egg production from laying hens. And we're going to talk various topics from infrastructure, food safety, and marketing. And my name is Yuna Bustamante. I'm the Oʻahu Livestock Extension Agent. And yeah, so we're going to go. I'm going to share some. Hold on. All right. So this is some of the topics that we're going to cover. We're going to do a little bit of statistics and the market value, breed selection and replacement stock, raising laying hens for production, housing infrastructure requirements, egg grading standards and shell quality, egg processing, food safety, sanitation, biosecurity, selling eggs in Hawaii, and marketing strategies and consumer demand. So with that in mind, I just pulled some information on the table where it's showing in 2022, the USDA statistics share some information about the laying hens, inventory of laying hens. And I made it an estimated eggs per year according to I don't know, 280 eggs a year per hen. So we have an estimated eggs produced per year, which gives, of course, an estimated dozens per year. And then we can see here in the very right side column how the county Honolulu or Oʻahu is the one that's estimated the highest market value here with this amount, and the total Hawaii is 60,700,581. So that's just gonna give you an idea where most of the production is coming from, and then there's still a lot of opportunity for the other counties as well. Okay, so then I made some calculations here that you're gonna see in the top. So I look it up, and Hawaii populations were 1,400,000 people. And with the estimated annual consumption that is average as nationwide, so Hawaii resident and also nationwide, we consume between 260 to 278 eggs per resident a year. So then the annual demand with that, we multiply those two, is about closer to 400 million eggs every year. So then with the production that I mentioned earlier, we're pretty much in a deficit of egg production. So that is just to capture, to give us an idea about the demand that is out there, and then how most of these eggs are imported to cover all these high demand of eggs. So then just locally, we added to around 20% of the production of local eggs, and the rest has to be from imported eggs. So there is a lot of opportunity there to share. Okay, so this is just gonna a quick overview of the statistics of that. So then we're gonna talk about where to source laying hens, the infrastructure of it, nutrition, health, and production. Okay, so then one of the main questions that I get to a lot of people ask me is where can I get my chicks? So I always highly recommend to look for hatcheries that are under the National Poultry Improvement Plan. And on Oʻahu, we have one hatchery. This is under this certification, and there are various in the mainland. We can find chicks in feed stores and friends and family. So just make sure those chicks are from the National Poultry Improvement Plan. And what's the benefits of being certified that way? So then this certification, becoming National Poultry Improvement Plan, it reduces the spread of very important diseases, and the testing, and it keeps testing all these animals every 6 months or once a year. And the most commonly disease are not noted in the bottom, like pylorium disease, fowl typhoid, avian influenza, mycoplasma, and salmonella in some cases. So we don't want to bring any diseases, and we don't want to spread any diseases. So always having animals that were tested for these main diseases is just keep our flock safe. Yeah. So then the next question is okay, so Ben, what type of hen should I get? So then in this case, we're selecting hens. It's always highly recommended to, when you're ordering online or even over the phone, I highly recommend to get your chicks vaccinated. There's two main vaccines that can be done. It's a Marek's vaccine and the fowlpox vaccine. So just keep in mind, there's just all these animals, they have vaccines, they're gonna be healthier, more productive, and less economic loss in the long term. Okay, so then we pass to the what type of hens. There's like multiple breeds, different varieties, and then you can have so much fun choosing what's your favorite. But what we call it, the queen of the laying hens, is the one at the top, is a leghorn, is a white chicken that probably most of us are familiar for the laying hens. And I just kind of like put some like a little traits that are important. So that is the egg production, 250 to 300 eggs per year. The feed efficiency is the highest, which is telling us for them, there any amount of given food, they will produce the most amount of eggs. So in terms of efficiency and utilize those resources more efficient is the leghorn. And then the only kind of like trade-off of that, they are a little susceptible to parasites. So there's something to keep in mind. So, but as we go in the webinar, we can talk about various ways to prevent or treat this parasite susceptibility. So then the next one, I use it as example for the pasture-based or pasture-raised. It's called the queen of the pasture production. This is a Rhode Island red. This one, because it's a little bit more hardier for this type of environments, the egg production is a little lower. It can go to 200 to 300 eggs a year. And the feed efficiency also decreases a little bit. But then they're less susceptible to parasites. So again, is a trade-off if always we want a more feed efficiency or, more resilient to parasites. And then the third example is the Americana. It's also known for a lot of us, they are produce very colorful, pretty eggs. So with that in mind, this type of breed, this colorful eggs, tend to produce less eggs per year. The feed efficiency, again, is a little lower than the leghorn, and the parasite susceptibility is slightly lower as well. So everything has a trade-off, and it just depends how is our goal in production is what we're gonna select our hen, right? Okay, so then we're gonna go, now that we select our hens, we have our chicks vaccinated and they're underway, we're gonna need to set up an infrastructure for them, which is gonna be like the following. It's kind of the main, I guess, materials or supplies that are needed for having the chicks safe. It's a brooding box, and I cite the minimum size they needed for a square foot, depending on their age. And because these chicks are very, they're 1 day old, so they can regulate the temperature. For that, we need to set up heating lamp and like environmental thermometer to make sure they are 95 degrees and just slowly reducing the temperature until it reaches room temperature. Then we have the bedding material, shavings, wood chips, or any clean bedding, and feeder and water. This specific for chicks. We don't want to have a big feeders. The chicks are not able to just reach water and feed. And it's recommended to change the water every day. Add any type of electrolytes when they arrive, just because if it coming from mainland or any other places, or even like inter-island travel, they can get dehydrated. So then for that, we added electrolytes for the first couple days. And then another question that I have is like, hey, what about the medicated feed? Yes, medicated feed is highly suggested because it's not like actually antibiotics. So we don't add antibiotics to these chicks. It contains amprolium, and this is it's just an additive that helps prevention of coccidiosis. So, and then I like to always share this chart over here in the middle when we're trying to identify what's the right temperature for the chicks when we're setting a heating lamp. Is we don't want it too cold or too hot, an optimal temperature, so we can see like for visual a diagram and just see how we can adjust this heating lamp. Okay, so then they get older and they're gonna go to their main housing. So then we need to make sure according with the number of animals that we're gonna house. So how many feeders, as we can see on the right side, is a little bit crowded. So not all animals have the access to feed at the same time. So we want to make sure they're equally distributed, that all the animals have access to food and water at all times, because it's kind of the base of our production and animal well-being. So then as we can see in the middle, like this is a more larger scale. So we can see like sufficient feeders for all the hens at all times. And on the left side, we can see how is the recommendations having one nest box for 3 or 4 hens. So that's things that we need to keep in mind in terms of infrastructure. Okay, so then very briefly, we're gonna talk about diet and nutrition. So some of the nutrient requirements is primarily water, as all for living things, and then water is the most important nutrient again. And even like for a baby chick, it can be 80% is water. So it's crucial to have fresh, clean water at all times. Okay, so then we go to energy and protein, fiber, and vitamins and minerals. So it's recommended to have, when we purchase in feed, having at least 60% of protein, because eggs, as we know, are made of protein. So it's crucial to put protein to obtain protein. Yeah. So the minimum for a laying hen in production, the minimum feed per day can be calculated, but average it could be like 4 ounces feed per hen. And then a lot of questions that I get is like, hey, how about the food scraps and things like that? Yes, according to like CTAHR UH researchers, it can be supplemented into up to 10% of the food scraps. And one quick comment here, sometimes there's recommended to add scratch or peck and scratch, different type of supplements. So we gotta be very careful adding the supplements as well. I know it can be as a treat, that's okay. But if we're trying to supplement some of the feed, it will affect the amount of protein those animals get on the daily basis, because this scratch and peck, it has lower protein content. So having like less protein content, it will affect our production overall. So yeah, oyster shells is also recommended as a part of additives, vitamins and minerals, because we need like hard shells, and we need calcium, and oyster shells and all these extra. One of the examples, they were asking me, hey, what about like the shells of the hens? That I will do it cautiously. Sometimes when we give the shell by itself, they start pecking at their own eggs. So we need to crush it very, very well, that they cannot relate that it's okay to eat my own eggs. Because as soon as they start eating their own eggs, there is no way they will stop. So then it's highly recommended to not give it back the egg by itself. Just crush it very well and mix it with the feed or with the scraps. Okay, so following the infrastructure for raising the laying hens is very important. Consider proper ventilation. I've been in some areas where the roof is really low, so the coop gets really hot. So the higher well ventilation, windows, the crosswinds, anything that keeps the urine and the feces produce ammonia, and the ammonia, if the animals are breathing in like indoor area, can cause irritation of the respiratory tract. So we want to make sure there's well ventilated areas for the hens. Again, for the ones that are outside in the pasture, we'll cover for rain, wind. Those are things that affect. You don't want a chicken that gets wet, it gets sick really quick and can go down the hill really fast. So we don't want to lose hens just being wet in the rain, especially after all these years it's been really, really rainy. So we want to make sure our hens are protected. And I have like a couple examples as a minimum square feet per hen here, and also we have the minimum rooster perching area. So all of that just to have their well-being, and when the animals are comfortable and the animals are happy, they're more productive. So that's kind of ultimate goal, right? So then some of us, we're doing like pasture hens, and we like to do outdoor access. it's great for their well-being. We just want to make sure about predators. We have various predators. The most common one that I've seen often is a mongoose, feral pigs, and dogs. Feral dogs or hunting dogs can spook those animals, etc., etc. So highly recommend having a poultry electric fence, and just check it from time to time is make sure it's hot, and that can deter some of these predators. So in terms of like the design of the chicken coop, it's still like we still like go with the chicken wire. This always is being commonly used for time to time. And I will prefer to use this galvanized steel 1/2 inch mesh, because this is a long lasting. Yes, it can be a little more pricey, but because of our environment or weather of heat and all the rain, the chicken wire tends to like disintegrate within no time. When then the predators can have access to those animals, they will steal eggs, they will eat their eggs. The mongoose, they kill chicks, they just even they climb the fences. So the better protected, we're gonna have more survivals or more animals and safe. Okay, so one very important factor in terms of the infrastructure of our chicken coops and our chicken areas is crucial to have a designated biosecurity section before entering ourselves to the chicken coop and exiting. We visit a farm here in Oʻahu. They had a spectacular setup. We have the towels, and you can wash your hands and have a dip for your shoes. So then over here is all the recommended PPE when they're handling chicks. They have a designated clothing, designated shoes, gloves, eye protection, if it's a lot of dust, mask, all of that to keep ourselves safe, and then, don't spread any diseases. Okay, so that's that. And then another like highly really recommend to start developing is called VCPR, which is a veterinarian client, in this case, poultry patient relationship. So, our animals get sick, our animals, can have diseases. They might be not aware, some of them can be treated. So then it's always important to contact your local veterinarian, or here in CTAHR, we have an extension veterinarian, Dr. Rajiv. We can provide some consultation and support for all of you, and always have this relationship to just keep continuing your business. Okay. And keep your animals healthy. Okay. So then what I've seen and when I was doing my own laying hens, so I kind of gather all the main poultry first aid kit. So you guys see a lot of items there. And this is just kind of the basics to have some a little bit of syringes and useful supplies for all of you. So I'll pass you guys this slides, and you can just see all the different type of additions. It's very important to have a poultry first aid kit for any kind of situation. Okay. So another important factor is it needs to be mentioned is properly methods of euthanasia for poultry. So there are cases where animals get severely injured, severely sick. That is, there's no treatment, or the treatment can be costly. So for that instance, it's very important to, again, maintain the relationship with your veterinarian or your local veterinarian. And then, if there's someone available can euthanize your animals, they can help you with that. That's ideal. But there is another acceptable methods with conditions: cervical dislocation, decapitation, captive vault, gas, but I don't think anyone has access to gas. And all these methods require proper training and skills, and and the method should be selected based on the bird, the equipment that we have, and always safety, and follow our welfare guidelines. So you can just check the AFMA guidelines for euthanasia in animals. This is a primary reference for that. Okay, so there are multiple factors that affect the egg production or laying hens, and one of them is the daylight, or they call photoperiod. So in Hawaii is not as severe because the difference in light is not as bad, but still the animals can sense that. So during winter time, we're gonna have a lower production of eggs because of that reasons. They're just gonna resetting their brain and they're thinking it's winter and it's time to slow down. But as soon as they come back to spring, they will go back slowly and increase their production. Then another one is molting. When they start changing their feathers, they're kind of resetting their system. So that's another time of the life of the laying hen where they'll stop producing eggs. Some breeds are more, they call it broodiness, more brooded than the others. So selecting a breed that's less broodiness, it will continue to produce more eggs in the long run. And that's why we learn, because it was selected for production, she's the least broody hen in the whole hens. Also nutrition, like we mentioned a little bit, having the nutrition and the water that those animals require, 60% protein, fiber, energy, and all that. Heat stress also, like during the summer months, they get really stressed because of heat. The chicken coops get really hot. So those animals are gonna drop production. Also, hurricanes and all these type of weather events also affect their production as well. So they just keep in mind they get stressed, and then stress does produce lower production. Disease and parasites is very important, and always checking the feces of those animals, or testing the fecal samples, and always checking they were like on top of the diseases and deworm as needed, right? Housing and ventilation, as I mentioned prior, and stock density, there's areas when we have more hens, they are in designated areas. So being so confined and so crowded also affects their production as well. Breed genetics, age, and all the body condition. Like I say, again, if there's an animal that doesn't have access to feed at all times, they will the body condition will drop and the production as well. Okay, and then the availability to have nests and predators and any type of disturbances. So this is a typical production curve of a laying flock, and as we can see, we start laying eggs at a week of 20 approximately, and then it's just like steep goes up, and in a percentage of production between or above 80%. So then at the time passed, and then the eggs when they start laying eggs, they're just small. And then as they get older, as we can see, the egg weight and the egg size increases. So as the time passes, by week 50, so slowly is decreasing. So week 50 is around 1 year old, and then closer to 2 years old is when it's recommended to just start a new flock and replace the flock, because you're not getting the efficiency of the feed that you're putting in and the amount of eggs that you're getting out. So it's always try to just switch flocks every 2 years, so 2.5 years, depending on the breed. Again, the breed that lay less eggs probably will lay for longer periods of time, and opposite to the breeds they're laying constantly, kind of every day, they will stop laying a short amount of time. And it's just because when they're born, they're already born with all the eggs they're gonna lay in their whole life. So as soon as their reproductive tract is done with all the eggs they're born with, they stop laying eggs. Okay, so now we're gonna talk a little bit about egg handling, processing, and food safety. Just to give an overview on the regulation, the jurisdiction in Hawaii, depending of the size of the farm is where we're gonna get the type of compliance. So if we have over 50,000 birds, it falls under USDA. If we have between 3,000 and 50,000 is around FDA. And under 3,000 birds is the state. So what I like to recommend everybody is just, I like to follow the USDA guidelines, because if I'm under the USDA guidelines, you're covered, so you don't have any issues. So then I always try to strike for the highest and for the best and go from there. So one of the quotes from the state is the eggs are potentially hazardous upon being laid, and is recommended within the 36 hours of being laid. The FDA and USDA require eggs to be washed in potable warm water, then sanitized and refrigerated. So again, if we follow USDA and FDA guidelines, even though we're under 3,000 birds, I think for the most part, we're doing best practices. Okay, so this is just gonna give us an idea who's the jurisdiction on that. And then, so I took the example because most of our producers here are probably under 3,000 birds. So then I took this example that when we're selling eggs, and I'm under 3,000 birds. So then I have like two options: go to direct consumers or retail sites. If I'm going to sell directly to consumers, I require by the Department of Health to acquire an annual food permit, or if we're going to do just a special event, just have a temporary special event permit. You can contact the Department of Health in your county, and they will help you to, they'll send you the form, and they'll help you step by step to just fill out this form properly. Also, we need to get a place where we're washing our eggs, either our own facility that is going to be inspected, or a certified kitchen as well. And either or two options, they need to have potable water, properly enclosed, and refrigeration below 45 degrees. And in this section, the Department of Health, it will not grade or will like require the eggs are graded. But then when we go to the retail side, like we're gonna go to farmers market, fairs, restaurants, wholesale. Well, this wholesale is kind of hard for 3,000 birds, but we need the annual food permit, and the eggs needs to be graded. And we're gonna talk about how to grade eggs, so grade B or higher. And we need to store our eggs in below 45 degrees. And we need to make a statement in our labels, the raw shell eggs are not being treated with salmonella, and just the following label that it says: to prevent illness from bacteria, keep eggs refrigerated, cook eggs until yolks are firm, and cook food containing eggs properly. Anyway, so this is the two options. And then now we're gonna go, now that we know what's gonna be our market, if we decide to go direct to consumers or we're gonna go to retail, so we're gonna start just collecting our eggs. So it's recommended to collect their eggs as soon as they're laid, and most flocks lay their eggs by 10 a.m. noon. That's when they're almost like done laying eggs. And then, I highly recommend it to collect it every day. And that way, those eggs are fresh, and you can keep track better of the record keeping part. Then while you're collecting the eggs, you can inspect all these eggs to make sure, they're not broken, they don't have cracks, or they're not pegged at. And then if for any reason we see any eggs in the floor, in the ground, and then we're unsure when this egg was laid, or if it's an old egg, just discard it. Is safer than just try to keep it, right? So, and then that's when it comes handy to have enough nest boxes for these laying hens, and that most of our eggs will be laid in the nest boxes. However, sometimes some hens, they won't listen. Anyway, so then following that is crucial to clean and wash the eggs before placing in refrigeration. So we can see in this example, there were some clean eggs and some dirty eggs. So it's when we can have cross-contamination, so mixing this two type of eggs, right? And then we're stacking the eggs, trying to not stack it too high, and we're collecting in baskets, so no more than 5 layers of eggs when we're doing in those baskets. And if we're gonna do flats, no more than 6 flats is recommended, just to not lose a lot of product in the process of it. But so then for egg cleaning and sanitation of these eggs, so it kind of made like a step by step. So step number 1, the temperature of the water, it should be washed at least at 20 degrees warmer than the eggs. So it's around like 90. This is kind of loud. Let me just, okay. Around like 90 and 120 degrees. And then we need to wash one egg at a time with running water, as we can see in the video, and do not pre-soak in solutions. Then after the initial wash, when they're like all clean, we can do a dip into a sanitizer solution, and we can use the following products. And then set aside, either refrigerate or sort it or grade it, and then refrigerate. Okay. So then when we're talking about grading, so this is the things that we're looking at abnormality in eggs. So we have calcium deposits, some blood stains, or, there's some that have been pecked at, abnormal shapes or wrinkly. So then we're striking for the ideal egg, right? And then all those eggs that are misshaped, we can just put it on the side. Okay, and then we're gonna see here when we're talking about grading eggs, we need to weigh every single egg and put in the recommended category. So we go off in the next slide, we're gonna see how for the size of the egg by weight, we have the peewee, and this is the grams, small, medium, large, extra large, and all of that, they need to be separated in groups and be packaged properly with their label that it says what size is each one. And then when we talk about grades, we've seen in the store, we see in the egg carton, it has like double A, or B. So when we're talking about double A and B, we're talking about the look of the egg by itself. So the double A is thick, firm yolk, and the white too, and is clean, unbroken. And when we talk about A, it's still firm yolk, but it's not as firm as double A. And then it gets slightly flatter when we crack it and just put it in the pan or in a plate. It's just flat. There's no like the yolk is not as raised as double A. And B is a little lower the quality, thinner white. There's just a little more watery, and the yolk start becoming flat, and minor shell imperfections, as we mentioned in the previous slides. And some of the imperfection is, some of the calcium deposits or misshape or a little bit of crack. So that's kind of the examples of how to grade eggs according with the physical appearance, size of the egg, and grade. Okay. So then the other important aspect is to have this is kind of the guidelines that's recommended, all the things that needs to be on the label when we're considering selling eggs. First, the origin, where is the farm located, the address, or is it mainland eggs? Probably you see in the store, some they say US mainland, or local eggs. As we can see here, this one is grown in Oʻahu, right? And then what grade, as we can see in the example, this is grade A. And for the ones that are not going to be graded, it needs to be unclassified. Okay, and then the size, I guess in the example, it says, extra large. And, it has to say that it's eggs, and in the back, they keep refrigerating, nutrition facts, all of that is recommended where we designing and putting our label in their eggs. Okay, so another important factor when transporting eggs from or cold storage to the store, to the farmer's market, or to whatever is their final destination to a consumer, is crucial to keep the eggs under 45 degrees. 45 degrees, as I mentioned, they need to avoid condensation and to keep the eggs safe and fresh. So that's just kind of like the overview. How are we gonna like maintain our eggs clean? Clean, and just avoid any type of risk of bacterial infections or growth in our eggs. Okay, so then lastly, we're gonna talk a little bit about marketing. Still have a little bit of time. I was trying to go really fast. So then when it comes to marketing, we're trying to add value to our local products, and that comes in many different ways. One is the marketing itself, the color of the egg. I know there's a lot of people that now are into mixing different colors, and that's appealing to our customers. Brown eggs, for some reason, they're appealing to our customers as well. Some people saying they're healthier than the white eggs. They're all the same. They're all, as long as they have the proper nutrition, they should have the nutrient content equally. It's known, or it says probably the brown eggs or those like blue eggs can be more nutritious because some of them are raised in situations that are pastures, so they have access to insects, grass, and all of those extra nutrients get deposited in the egg. So that's when it comes the difference, right? So just kind of like share the story behind our hens, how we're raised. So that's how something in terms of animal welfare is seen, and people like to see how are these animals housing. So then always have a labels of support local, buy local. Is always they can increase the value of our products too. And lately now in social media, it's a lot of people they're marketing their own products, their own eggs, and that's also for like younger generations also they can be helpful too. Okay. And then to add more value to our eggs, there's certain like labelings that can help. Some people are looking more and more into labels, which is great. So, I mean, it goes from like left to right. It doesn't mean it's linear. You can choose any type of label and, you can add any type of certification. They will add more value to your product. Like now the free range, we see in a lot of packages, or certified organic. That's also that a lot of people in produce they're looking at. So same thing for eggs. People are making sure those animals are healthy and clean and just organic. Some people are looking at non-GMO products as well. That can be added as well. And then some added even the pasture raised as a plus for a product. There's other certifications that certified humane. There's some producers here on Oahu that's certification, and there's animal welfare approved too. So all of this type of labelings, they will add more value to our products at the end of the day. And I think with that is okay. This is, I think, the last slide. So for this one, I just want to like share there are a lot of resources out there for supporting farmers and producers. They want to started inquiring about like, starting their egg production. You can reach out the Cooperative Extension CTAHR. You can reach us. We can provide information for you. Any type of research, workshops, webinar like this one, farm visits. If you're requesting, you can contact. This is our like contact information. Veterinary consultation as well. For the Department of Health, as I mentioned, if you need assistance about like getting your food permits and certified kitchen guidelines and washing station requirements, this is the phone number to contact them. And in terms of the Department of Agriculture, Biosecurity, they'll provide support, when it comes to bringing chicks and then what's safest way, permits on that, the movement of animals, veterinary labs, and if you want to register your brand. So all of those entities are here to help and are here to thrive, to help you thrive and just increase egg production statewide. And with that, I think that's the last slice of my presentation. I just want to appreciate everyone for their time. And if Asia or Prem,
We have two questions.
Yes.
From Steele. I've had trouble finding a veterinarian that will come to our farm for our chickens. Any help you can provide regarding this would be greatly appreciated. We live in Kākō on Big Island, so we're remote.
Yeah, definitely. We have two agents. They can help. Like if there's any basic consultation, basic practices, we can Prem Mahato is in this call. We can contact, if you can send me your email, we can reach out to you personally, try to guide you what's the best assistance. And we have another agent, Mele Oshiro as well. So we have two in Big Island. So I'll be happy to share their contacts with you. And, if there's any veterinary assistance for that, we can just get the assistance of Dr. Rajiv Misra that's in this call as well. So I don't know if you, Prem or Rajiv, you guys want to drop your email in the chat, and that way for all the people that's attending can just.
I already have dropped my
Oh,
email and
perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay.
Prem, can you drop my email address? Hello. Hi,
Oh,
Prem. Can you drop my email address as well? And yes, I don't think I can travel Big Island every time, but I can call them and talk to them over the phone for any concerns. If they want to send their bird food necropsy, they can put my name in there so that whenever I get the result, I will call them and discuss the results. Yeah. So I can offer those benefits to them. Yeah.
Thank
yeah,
you so
so
much.
we're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk with him or her tomorrow. I already gave my contact to Steel. So if needed, definitely we're gonna contact you, Dr. Rajiv.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, and the next, thank you, Steele, for that question. We have another question from Miguel that says, I'm curious if there are any mobile coop designs that are recommended to withstand strong winds and rain.
well, that's a good question because again, it's like a trade-off. So if we can utilize materials that are more heavy duty, however, as soon as they get more hard and heavy duty, these mobile coops they're harder to move, right? So then I don't think there's like the ultimate design for a chicken coop. It has to be a lot of your space, the size, the how many animals you have, and yeah. But it's yeah. I wish I could give you just one answer. They just like this is the ultimate, but I've seen someone online that I can send you. I can send you the link of that. There's like I think I don't think it's steel, but yeah, I'll look into it, but it's hard to get because most of our materials we want it light enough to be able to move, but this is a trade-off. The other thing is you can stick it when and just do like storm prep and and then later just gonna remove that and just try to keep it light for easy movement. But yeah, that's a great question. I need to look more into different types of mobile coops as well. Yeah. Any other question?
Yeah, I have a question about chicken coop and fertilizers.
Chicken coop fertilizers?
And yeah, how to make some fertilizer out of chicken poop and all these things.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I mean, if the chicken coop is mobile, I think just the droppings they stayed in the ground and they, over time they get absorbed and they decompose. But
I
if
think
you're in
I think
stationary,
he's talking about chicken poop, not coop.
yeah. But if the chicken coop is
Like it's when
stationary,
you put them in. Yeah, I'm talking about the waste.
yeah.
Chicken
So I
waste
think
and
yeah, the best way is in stationary coop, you can remove all the waste and a lot of us we're doing Korean natural farming. So you can remove all the waste and put a compost pile and you can decompose it. There's a whole protocol that how to properly compost chicken manure that I could share with you if you guys interested in how to properly compost chicken manure. But yeah, definitely is it's another kind of byproduct, but at the same time another opportunity to after you decompose this poop properly feces, you can sell it. So yeah, I'll be happy to share that information with you.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see in the chat there's recommendations for chicken coop from Joel Salatin. Yeah, I have that book. It has really good recommendations, so I'll be happy to share some of these mobile coops. They can be probably hopefully suitable for Hawaii because I think some of Joel Salatin's a little more larger scale, so we can always adapt to like smaller properties. Yeah. Okay. So, any other question?
I have a question.
Yes.
So the sorry. So the commercial kitchen do they have a station for egg washing? If the commercial kitchen have, then how many eggs can be washed at a time?
I guess it's just gonna case by case. If this producer connects with kitchen and they get some type of contract of some type of agreement, it's recommended, like I said, like if are able to go every day and wash their own eggs, or some then go every other day and wash their eggs. So I think it's all depends of the size of the kitchen, of what's the agreement between the farmer and the kitchen, certified kitchen. So yeah, I don't know if that answer your question a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so I was wondering if the commercial kitchen have designated area and machine for egg washing station. If not, in general, just a sink would take a lot of time to just wash.
Yeah, I mean, most farmers is that how are they doing? They go and they take all their eggs to the kitchen and they wash, like I was telling the steps, step by step, they wash one. And it takes time. So sometimes having like these machines that I showed in the video kind of helps to make the process a little faster. But as you're scaling, probably you're looking into purchase a bigger egg washer and sorter, and then you can handle eggs and grater. So there are like various types of ways to process these eggs that can be more efficient, but it just depends of the size of your farm or the amount of eggs that you're getting on the daily basis. Yeah.
I have another question. Do some of the machines that you use to wash or to refrigerate the eggs can be functioning with solar energy?
I think so. As long as you have a solar panel, you can there's all these like you just need a solar panel, probably a battery, and that way you can hook it up and just working, now we charge our electric cars from the outlets, so it's kind of the same principle. If you got solar panels, you can do it. Yeah.
All right.
I think someone raised their hand.
Yeah.
Too.
iPhone 104 was raising hand. You can unmute and ask your question.
iPhone 104, someone raise their hand. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
So I live on Maui and we do the eggs through the bunker. I use the old military bunker for a hen house because we have winds that are very high. Can get anywhere up to 70 miles an hour. Just like this weekend, we got up to about 75, 85 miles an hour. But we reuse and repurpose everything. So the water is filtered out twice. I use 55-gallon plastic drums. And so I wash the eggs there. I filter the water again, and then it's washed again. And by the time it gets to the third one, the water is reclaimed again, and then we reuse it because the water issue here is, it's a lot because the Hawaiian people have given up a lot of water for farmers before, and that's not going to happen again. So we have to figure out a way to reclaim the water as you are, dealing with the chickens. Um, I used to use the river water in 3 different stages. And then at the last stage, I would have the Department of Health come out, and pretty much the eggs were, better than most of the eggs that that went to the store. We used the natural refrigeration through the cold water system. So it just kind of depends on what you have available. But we have been reusing, repurposing stuff for over the last 8 years. And I've been doing eggs prior to COVID.
Wow, that's amazing. May I ask you how big is your flock or
I had 200 heads prior to the line of fire, and then it got up as high as 2,000 head. And so right now I'm just rebuilding. So we mark our eggs daily for what we pull out. Just I mean, so but we mark everything. So the egg cartons are being reused. Anything people donate to me is basically sanitized and repurposed. But we mark our eggs per the hands on what was delivered. And we just use a pencil. But for the most part, we're reclaiming our water probably about almost 85% of what we use. And I think Hawaii or like the programs need to be more diversified doing that way versus us constantly reusing sources that we don't have. So with the recent rains, we capture that. And by the time it gets to my third or fourth 55-gallon drum, it's drinkable water. So it's this program is just to help me get more certified because we're moving closer to not selling in the stores, but community based, community welfare, people that can't afford certain things. So, and I do a lot of kupuna donations. So we donate to the kupuna first, and then everything else is done to the kids, schools, programs that are that base first. The last thing I do is stuff for money.
yeah?
Only because yeah, we're native based, so um I just don't do that. But I'm part of the CTAHR program, but everything is reuse, repurpose. So we use an old bunker right now that was built in the, I want to say, the late 50s, early 60s, and I use two of them. So right now we're up to almost 4,500 head, and then this is like our first year. So, and I have a couple partners, but most of them are homestead, and then most of us are women.
That's amazing. Yeah, definitely, like you say, in Hawaii, our natural resources and everything is so limited. So it's crucial to utilize all those natural resources more efficient and be sustainable and, care of our aina. So I think it's amazing. It's wonderful, the story that you're sharing with us. And if I ever am in Maui, I would love to visit your bunker laying hen production. And again, it's about to sharing and just caring for the community, for the keiki, for the kupuna. So yeah, thank you for sharing. And then like again, as a CTAHR, this is a place for us to share knowledge, to share information, what worked for you, what if like you're saying, the Department of Health of Agriculture, you're compliant and you're doing the best practices. It is doable, and we would like to see more production like yours. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Okay. Anyway, any other question? I think we have like just a couple of minutes left, but Asia, share the link. If you guys please just check out the link and just get the evaluation program and the demographics. That definitely helps to improve our programming. Is anything that you also would like to learn, something different, please drop it in the link in the evaluation, and we'll follow up on that. And if it's nothing else, I appreciate you guys' time. And if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. We're here to help you, to provide resources and information. And thank you for all of you that are here. And again, please stay safe. And I hope everyone is well after the storm. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Take
Thank
care.
you all. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you again. Bye.
Bye.